Welcome back, America. My favorite segment of the week, the State of the State segment. Jonathan Williams is the president and chief economist at the American Legislative Exchange Council, ALEC.org, ALEC.org/Hugh. Jonathan, I love compare and contrast. That's why I like rich states, poor states so much. You have just released at ALEC the 4th Annual Energy Affordability Report. I'm kind of afraid to look because I'm in California. But I don't think California does very well on the affordability of energy index, does it?
No surprises there, Hugh. You won't like what you're paying, and if you're a Californian and listening to this, it's a great way though to rank the states, as you point out. This is one of the great things ALEC does every single year is give you a way as a state to benchmark yourself, and as you talk to your policymakers, and we work with over 2,000 of them at ALEC to be able to say, how can we make our state better off? In the case of the new report, it's about how do we make our energy mix more affordable for both residential and business consumers across the United States. As we know, it's a huge input, not just for, heating our homes in the winter and the cost to our pocketbook as individuals, but it's a huge input to the cost of doing business in a state. So in a way, you mentioned rich states, poor states there, Hugh. We could really almost include this as a variable in some of the upcoming editions of rich states, poor states, because it's that key to why some businesses choose some states over others, is that reliable, affordable energy mix.
The more of these that you do, Jonathan, whether it's energy or house insurance or liability insurance, anything, people care about the cost of living. They really want to know if they're going to move or retire somewhere, where do I want to go? And if you're going to open up a business, where do I open up the business? So who does best? Let's talk about the winners. Who produces the most energy at the least cost for the people and businesses who live there?
So the honors for that go to the great state of Wyoming. I was just talking to the new Speaker of the House, Chip Neiman, yesterday on the phone. He's been doing a great job moving a freedom, pro-taxpayer-oriented agenda this last session in Wyoming. But Wyoming is the lowest cost in terms of the electricity piece. That's probably not a surprise to a lot of folks either. And, you get, in a way, a bit of a regional feel to the states that are lowest of the costs on electricity. You have North Dakota, Idaho, and Utah following Wyoming, and then Nebraska from there. So you really have a regional piece that makes a lot of sense. And, why is that the case?
I got to say, our friend CJ Box lives in Wyoming. He's going to be insufferable now. I mean, really insufferable. So I wish you hadn't said Wyoming, because he's just already Wyoming is best in everything, but they are the cheapest when it comes to energy.
They are. And, of course, not to add to the bandwagon there, Hugh, but I mean, Wyoming not being an income tax state is another key element. We're big fans of what's going on in Wyoming is I think we've talked about, they also become a universal school choice state this year because of the leadership of Speaker Neiman and Senate leaders.
Jonathan, if you're going to open a business, I'd look for energy, water, and a school choice system. I'd also look at the tax rate because you want to attract the best employees, right? And employees are smart. Do you expect a lot of, are you adding more variables into rich states, poor states, which ought to be like the Bible for people who are choosing to locate businesses or lives?
Well, and that's something we've talked about, and energy costs and education freedom would be the logical two others. I mean, as you know, Hugh, the three big priorities from ALEC perspective, from a policy piece, is economic opportunity, energy independence, and education freedom. And so including those together in that mix for attracting, what does it mean to bring a business to your state? Or as Americans vote with their feet, as we chronicle every single year, where are they going? They're looking for the best quality of life at the lowest cost of living. And those are all key elements to it. And so that's something I know we'll be talking with Dr. Laffer and Steve Moore about as we look forward to future editions of Rich States, Poor States, because you can't escape it. When you look at what states are offering for families, you put together school choice and allowing dollars to follow families to those states of their choice when they're deciding to move. You combine that with good tax policy and lower energy costs. That right there is the combination that's the magic sauce.
Yeah, the lower energy cost, because I spend a lot of time in Maine. It's very expensive to live in the Northeast because they haven't updated their grid. Jonathan, let's get a quick update. Who's winning the tax rate race in the Southeast? Because they're all competing with each other. Who's winning?
Well, that Southeast is a competitive conference. So it's not just
Yeah.
football, though. It's economics, right? We all know Florida and Texas and Tennessee have been zero income tax states. It's been big drivers for the region. But as last time we talked, they hadn't signed it into law, Hugh, but now he has. Governor Tate Reeves in Mississippi. Mississippi now has eliminated their personal income tax, the first state to do so if the phase-ins go as we expect under the triggers in over 40 years. So a huge, huge boost to a state that's been a slow growth state and desperately needs to compete.
Congratulations to Mississippi, and thank you, Jonathan, for all of this stuff. Get the weekly update from ALEC by going to alec.org/Hugh. That's ALEC.org/Hugh. Interesting stuff going on in the states, and they should drive policy at the Congress, and they do drive policy at the Congress, because what works in the laboratories of the state ought to be reproduced nationally. Stay tuned, America. I'm Hugh Hewitt.